Just a couple of greetings to His Excellency Dr. Frank-Walter Steinmeier, President of Federal Republic of Germany, on his country's National Day. The latest satellite images and weather charts analysis at the National Multi-Hazard Early Warning Center indicates that the tropical cyclone Shaheen continues to move towards the coastal areas of Sea of Oman with an estimated surface wind speed around the center between 116 to 150 kilometers per hour. The center of the cyclone is about 300 kilometers away from the Muscat Governorate, and the closest convective clouds band associated with the cyclone is about 150 kilometers away. The indirect effects have started along the coast of the governorates of South al-Sharqiya and Muscat, with waves height of 3 to 5 meters associated with scattered rains. The cyclone is expected to continue its movements towards the coast of North al-Batina. The direct impacts will start from tomorrow Sunday morning, including strong winds of 30 to 60 knots and heavy rains ranging between 200 and 500 millimeters, causing severe flash floods over the governorate of North and South al-Batina, Muscat, al-Dhahira, al-Buraymi, al-Dakhiliya, and the coastal area of South al-Sharqiya. It may gradually extend to the governorates of Musandam and North al-Sharqiya, with isolated rains and heave to moderate winds. Seas will be very rough over the coastal areas between the governorates of South al-Sharqiya and Musandam, with a maximum wave height of 8 to 12 meters. The storm surge might cause seawater inundation over low-lying coastal areas. Sea will be rough along the rest of Omani coast, with a maximum wave height of 3 to 5 meters. We have now live with discussions with our colleague, reporter Saleh Al-Rahbi at the National Multi-Hazard Early Warning Center. He will brief us on the latest developments of Tropical Cyclone Shaheen. Saleh, can you hear us? Saleh, are you available there?
Yes, Abdullah, and I'm going to tell you about the latest. I think we have
a problem of sounds, probably.
Abdullah, I can hear you, and actually the latest weather charts indicate that the center of the cyclone is around 240 kilometers away from Muscat Governorate, while the closest convective clouds band associated with this cyclone is about 150 kilometers. To get further details or the latest forecast about Tropical Cyclone Shaheen, I have with me Abdullah bin Rashid Al-Khudori, Chief of Planning and Business Development at the Civil Aviation Authority. Abdullah, what can you tell us, what are the latest forecasts about this tropical cyclone?
Yes, Saleh, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. First of all, we welcome you and your team here in the National Multi-Hazard Warning Center. Let us start our talk by mentioning the latest observation that we have recorded here in the last 12 hours. We have some scattered affected clouds as indirect effect of the tropical cyclone Shaheen have started early in this morning. Some scattered clouds affected to the Sultanate, different parts of the Sultanate, caused some scattered rain, especially in South al-Sharqiya Governorate, North al-Sharqiya Governorate, and also, as we have seen here, in Muscat Governorate. Now, the latest information and observation about the location and the closest convective band of this tropical cyclone Shaheen is about, the center is away from Muscat about 240 kilometers. Clearly, in the last 6 hours, the cyclone have a little bit accelerated more than what is comparing in the morning. Also, the closest convective band of the rainfall that associated with the center of this cyclone is right now 140 kilometers. Before 6 hours, it was 190 kilometers. Now becomes much closer to Muscat. The latest observation. Also, Shaheen, the tropical cyclone, is still categorized as grade 1. There is some chances of increasing in winds. Now, the surrounding winds in the center of this tropical cyclone estimated from 64 to 75.
Okay, so as the tropical cyclone continues its movements towards the coast of Sea of Oman, do you expect also this cyclone is going to intensify in the coming hours?
Yes, as the latest indications and images, we don't expect the tropical cyclone Shaheen to intensify more. It's going to be varied between 64 until 75 knots, which is also still categorized as grade 1. Actually, most of the indications showing there will be weakness in the tropical cyclone Shaheen next 12 hours as it moves towards the coast of Oman Sea. What we expect in the next 12 hours is going to be downgraded to tropical storm, but it's going to be from 45 knots to 55 knots. Even though it's going to downgrade to tropical storm, it will be still very effective, and it's going to cause many hazards to the Sultanate, different parts of the Sultanate. There are three main major hazards can be caused by the tropical cyclone Shaheen. First one is the heavy rainfall that is going to be fallen by the cyclone. This heavy rain is going to cause very also severe flash floods and wadis. This is the first major hazards that can be caused by this cyclone. The second major hazard is the strong winds. The winds will be expected from 45 to 55 knots. That is equals to mostly 90 kilometers per hour. These strong winds can move the things like trees, the small things, and that's why this is also the second major hazard. The third major hazard, Saleh, is the rough seas, especially for those houses who living nearby the sea. They should take the maximum cautious, and they should follow the instructions that tell by the offices. Yeah.
What about the direct impacts of this tropical cyclone Shaheen? When is the expectations of the weather charts that this tropical cyclone is going to affect the governorates which are on its way?
Yes. As I said just a little before, we are worried about the heavy rain, which will cause severe flash floods, thunder showers. The thunder showers will cause severe flash floods, and major impacts of the flash floods can enter to the some houses, especially those houses that located near wadis or on the lands near the wadis. Also, as I said, the rough seas and the seawater Indonesia inside the lands, especially those houses can be affected also by the seawater Indonesia. And as we have heard from the news, there are a lot of evacuations has been done last 6 hours, especially in north Al-Batana and south Al-Batana. Those people, those houses and people who is located on near the sea.
Right. So now, actually, Abdullah, as you have witnessed here from the National Multi-Hazard Early Warning Center, this tropical cyclone Shaheen is moving towards the coast of Sea of Oman and expected to reach the coastal areas as early as tomorrow morning. And also the indirect impacts have already affected some of the governorates on its way. The public actually are advised to take precautionary measures and also to listen to the news from the official sources so that they are up to date with the latest about this tropical cyclone.
Well, thank you very much, Saleh. We appreciate the latest information from your guest there, the Mr. Abdullah Al-Khuduri, of course. We do appreciate and thank you very much. We'll keep in touch from time to time. But as it's been said there, that the tropical cyclone Shaheen is very much closer to Oman Sea. 3 major hazards can be caused by the tropical cyclone: heavy rainfall, severe flash floods and wadis, and strong winds, 45 to 55 knots, about 90 kilometers per hour, and of course rough sea. Now, since they say that strong winds, it's advisable for all those people who likes to park their car close to the trees to remove them, and any area that is shaking, they need actually to take their belongings away from there so not to cause any damage. And now we continue with the news. Indirect impacts of the tropical cyclone started in the Sultanate as a number of wilayas witnessed wave height and various intensity rainfall. Here are the scenes of wave height on the beach of Fins area in the wilaya of Quriyat in the governorate of Muscat. Niaba of Tiwi in the wilaya of Suri in South Sharqiya governorate witnessed various intensity rainfall which caused wadis and tributaries to overflow. Coast of the wilaya of Sohar in North Batana governorate experienced rising waves due to the start of indirect impacts of tropical cyclone Shaheen. Due to the exceptional weather conditions in the Sultanate and after coordination with the National Committee for Emergency Management and for the safety of the workers at the public and private sectors, it was decided that Sunday and Monday 3rd and 4th of October will be an official holiday for the employees of the state administrative apparatus units and for the employees of the public and private sectors except for the Governorate of Dhofar and Al-Wusta. The employers in the private sector may ask employees to work in the aforementioned days if the work necessitates taking into account adherence to the precautionary health and occupational safety conditions, and those employees shall be compensated for that period. His Excellency Dr. Abdullah bin Nasser al-Harrasi, Minister of Information, affirmed the readiness of all media means in dealing with the impact and developments of tropical system Shaheen, such as raising public awareness, issuing instructions and warnings in different languages for citizens and residents in cooperation with the National Committee for Emergency Management, in addition to highlighting efforts exerted by response sectors. This came during His Excellency's meeting with a number of officials from the Civil Aviation Authority, the National Committee for Emergency Management, to get acquainted with the latest developments about the tropical system Shaheen and its expected impacts on the Sultanate. His Excellency urged to rely on information from its sources and not to pay attention to rumors for the safety of all and limiting the possible risks of this weather condition. The National Center for Emergency Management held a meeting to review the developments of the expected tropical cyclone and its effects on the Sultanate. The meeting also reviewed readiness of the main sectors and mechanisms of optimal dealing with the cyclone in order to limit impacts of the tropical system in the upcoming days. Shelter, relief, health, search and rescue sectors are ready to deal with the developments of the tropical system. The meeting was chaired by Major General Abdullah bin Ali Al-Harthi, Assistant Inspector General of Police and Customs for Operations, Deputy Chairman of the National Committee for Emergency Management, with the attendance of the coordinating sectors. Subcommittee for Emergency Management in the Governorate of South Al-Batina held a coordination meeting to review preparedness and preventive measures to deal with the impacts of the tropical cyclone Shaheen. The preparations included determining shelter places in each wilaya. The meeting also dwelt on readiness of basic services sector. The Subcommittee for Emergency Management in North Al-Batina Governorate affirmed its complete readiness to face the expected effects of the tropical cyclone Shaheen. In the Governorate of South Al-Sharqiyya, Emergency Management Subcommittee held a meeting to discuss all measures taken to deal with the tropical system. The Emergency Management Subcommittee in the Governorate of North Sharqiyya stressed its readiness to deal with the expected impacts of the tropical cyclone Shaheen. The Emergency Management Subcommittee in the Governorate of Buremi also met with the presence of all chairmen of the sectors and members of the subcommittee. This came as part of activation of the National Committee for Emergency Management to deal with the tropical system Shaheen. As part of the preliminary preparations to deal with the impacts of the tropical system, the Emergency Management Subcommittee in the Governorate of Al-Dhahira held a meeting with all civil and military sectors in the Governorate. During the meeting, latest developments on the weather conditions were reviewed and the Emergency Management Subcommittee were there. In a new sign for the strength and solidity of the Omani economy, S&P Global Ratings revised the credit ratings of the Sultanate from the stable future outlook to positive, with affirmation on the credit rating at B+B. The positive future outlook came, according to the agency, due to the Sultanate's policies and measures in addressing the economic and health challenges and steps taken within the framework of medium-term fiscal plan to improve the fiscal performance and its sustainability, in addition to improvement in oil prices and decline of severity of COVID-19 pandemic. The agency pointed out in its report to the possibility of upgrading the credit rating of the Sultanate next year, with the continuation of reaping the fruits of taken fiscal measures and the increase in the growth of economic activity, which leads to economic recovery and reduction in government's net debt. The agency also expects that a strong economic recovery will take place in the Sultanate starting from the current year, supported by an increase in oil production and growth in non-oil activities sectors. It's also expected that the real gross domestic growth will grow by 1.7% during the current year, as to reach 3.1%. The Vice President of the European Commission stressed today, we are fighting for the survival of humanity in the global battle against climate change. Frans Timmermans was speaking at the pre-COP26 summit in Milan. Timmermans, who is tasked with delivering the European Union's first European climate law to ensure the 2050 climate neutrality target is made a legal requirement, said the crisis and accompanying ecocide on biodiversity was humanity's biggest threat. With regards to steps governments need to take to enable the changes required, Timmermans suggested they should try and take their people out of the comfort zone and away from any false sense of security. The pre-COP26 summit is sandwiched between the Youth for Climate Summit, also in Milan, and the COP26, which will be held in Glasgow from October 31st. Britain's Queen Elizabeth II arrived at Holyrood in Edinburgh today to attend the opening of the Scottish Parliament following elections in May. The Queen was accompanied by the Duke and Duchess of Rothesay, as her son Prince Charles and his wife Camilla are called when in Scotland. After waving to the cheering crowds outside, the Queen was greeted by politicians and dignitaries, including Scottish Prime Minister Nicola Sturgeon. It is a tradition for each new session of the Scottish Parliament to have an opening ceremony, and this time it is themed as a tribute to local heroes. Video by the U.S. Geological Survey shows the lake of lava in a crater at the summit of the Kilauea volcano on Hawaii's Big Island. Kilauea, one of the most active volcanoes on Earth, began erupting on Wednesday. The eruption is not in an area with homes and is entirely contained within Hawaii Volcanoes National Park. Officials said the increased earthquake activity and ground swelling before the eruption put them on high alert. Fissures then opened in the area and sent lava fountaining into the sky. Now the area has filled with molten rock, creating a lake of lava in the summit crater. The new lava is an expected evolution of the volcano that is recharging after a huge destructive eruption in 2018 that drained much of its magma. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. The indirect effects of tropical cyclone Shaheen starts in some areas of the Sultanate, and the cyclone continues to move towards the coast of Sea of Oman. Due to the exceptional weather conditions, an official leave is declared for Sunday and Monday, except for the governorates of Dhafar and Al-Wusta. Different sectors in the Sultanate confirmed their readiness to deal with the impact of the tropical cyclone Shaheen. And with that, we do conclude this news bulletin, brought to you live from this news center of the Sultanate of Oman television. Of course, you have to take all the precautionary measures required for this particular cyclone Shaheen. At the same time, don't forget to follow the precautionary measures against COVID-19. From me and the entire news team here in the studio, we thank you for joining us, wish you a pleasant evening and good night.